Amara, Amara, come here, stupid girl. You are useless. Is that how to do it? Your mother died because of you.
In a small village, hidden between thick forests and quiet rivers, there lived a girl named Amara. The village was full of life. Children ran around freely, laughing as they played under the sun. Women gathered together, talking and smiling as they worked. But Amara was not like the other children. She did not laugh with them. She did not play. And she did not dream anymore. Because every single day of her life had become something she had to endure. There was a time when Amara was happy. A time when she woke up to a gentle voice, not shouting. A time when she felt safe, loved, and cared for. That was when her mother was still alive. Her mother was a kind woman with a soft voice and warm hands. She always smiled at Amara and made her feel special, even when they had very little. She would tell her stories, sing to her, and hold her close. Whenever she was afraid, "You are my little light," she would say. "No matter how dark the world becomes, you must always shine." One day, her mother fell sick. At first, it seemed small, just a little sickness that would go away. But as the days passed, it became worse. Her mother grew weaker and weaker, until she could no longer stand, no longer smile, no longer speak the way she used to. Amara stayed close to her, hoping she would get better. But she didn't. One morning, the house was too quiet. Her mother was gone. That was the day Amara's world changed. After her mother died, her father was no longer the same. He became quiet and distant. He stopped talking, stopped smiling, and stopped paying attention to the little things around him. It was like he had lost something inside himself and could not find it again. Amara tried to reach him. She tried to talk to him, to sit beside him, to remind him of the way things used to be. But it was no use. He was there, but he was not really there. Then one day, her father brought a woman into their home. He told Amara that this woman would now be her new mother. At first, Amara felt a small sense of hope. She thought maybe things would get better. Maybe she would feel loved again. Maybe the house would feel warm again. But that hope did not last. The woman was not kind. At first, she pretended to be. She smiled and spoke gently, just enough to make things seem normal. But slowly, her true nature began to show. She became strict, then harsh, and soon cruel. Amara was no longer treated like a child. She was treated like someone who existed only to work. Every morning, before the sun rose, she was already awake. She fetched water from the stream, washed clothes, cleaned the house, and cooked food she was not allowed to eat. No matter how hard she tried, it was never enough. If she made a mistake, she was shouted at. If she was too slow, she was punished. If she tried to explain herself, she was insulted. Sometimes, the words hurt more than anything else. She was called useless. She was told she brought nothing but trouble. She was even told that her mother's death was her fault. What hurt the most was that her father saw everything. He heard the shouting. He saw the way she was treated. But he said nothing. He did nothing. And slowly, Amara began to understand that she was completely alone. One morning, before the sun had fully risen, her stepmother called out loudly.
Amara, Amara, come here, stupid girl.
Amara rushed out quickly, her hands still wet from washing pots. "I'm here, Mama," she said. Before she could say anything else, her stepmother slapped her. The sound was sharp and sudden. Amara's head turned to the side, and her cheek began to burn. "Look at this," the woman shouted, holding a half-filled bucket.
You are useless. Is that how to do it? Your mother died because of you.
Amara tried to explain that the stream had been crowded, that she had waited for a long time. But her stepmother did not listen. She shouted at her, called her lazy, and threw the bucket to the ground. Water spilled everywhere. Amara stood there quietly, holding back her tears. A few steps away, her father watched, but he said nothing. At night, when everyone else was asleep, Amara would lie on the cold floor, staring at the roof. Her body would ache, and her stomach would often be empty. She would close her eyes and remember her mother's voice. But even that memory was slowly fading. Tears would roll down her face, but she would wipe them away quickly. Crying did not change anything. So little by little, Amara stopped hoping. She stopped wishing. She stopped dreaming. That night was colder than any night Amara had ever felt. The village was silent and dark. The moon was bright. Amara lay on the hard floor of the hut, staring at the ceiling. Her stomach ached from hunger, and her body ached from the long day of work. Her stepmother's harsh words echoed in her mind. Her father's silence weighed heavier than ever. Finally, she sat up. She looked around the dark room. No one noticed her. No one cared. The house was full of life for others, but for her, it was only pain. I can't do this anymore, she whispered to herself. I just wanted to stop. Without thinking, she stood and walked toward the door. She stepped outside. The village was quiet. Houses were dark. The paths were empty. She walked past the familiar huts, past the farms, past the places that should have felt like home, but did not. Her feet led her to the forest everyone feared, the forest filled with stories no one wanted to tell. People said strange voices lived there, and shadows moved when no one was looking. Children were warned to stay away. Adults avoided it at night. Amara did not care. Her fear was gone. She had nothing left to lose. The deeper she walked, the colder the air became. It pressed against her chest, making it hard to breathe. Then she heard it. Amara. Her heart jumped. She froze. She turned in every direction. Who's there? She whispered, her voice shaking. Silence. She took a step back. Maybe it was her imagination. Maybe she had imagined the voice. Amara. The voice came again. Clear. Soft. Calm. Not human. She wanted to run, but something inside her stopped. She had never felt this mixture of fear and hope. I can see your pain, the voice said. Amara's breath caught. Who are you? She asked. A light appeared ahead. Small at first, then it grew, brighter and warmer. A figure appeared in the glow. Tall, strong, and not quite human. Something about him made her want to step back, but she could not. I can help you, he said. Amara's eyes widened. Help me, she whispered. Yes, he said, stepping closer. No more hunger. No more pain. No more tears. You will never suffer again. Please, she said softly, her voice trembling. I just wanted to stop. The figure paused. Then, his voice was calm but firm. Then marry me. Amara froze. Her mouth opened. Marry you, she asked. Yes, he said. Leave this world behind. Come with me, and you will be free. Her stomach twisted. Her body shook. Tears filled her eyes. She thought of her stepmother, her father, the house that had never been a home, the long days, the endless pain. Yes, she whispered finally, barely audible. I'll come. The figure held out his hand. Amara hesitated. Her life had been full of fear and pain, and yet something about him made her feel safe. She took his hand. The moment their fingers touched, the world seemed to change. The wind roared. The trees swayed violently. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. And then everything went dark. When she opened her eyes, she was no longer in the forest. The air was heavy. The sky glowed with colors she had never seen. Shadows moved strangely, almost as if they were alive. In front of her stood a palace made of black stone, tall and imposing. You are home now, the Spirit King said. Welcome, my bride. Amara's heart pounded. She had escaped her suffering, but she had stepped into something far more dangerous. Amara stood before the palace, tall and wide, its dark stone shimmering under the strange sky. The massive doors were carved with patterns she could not understand. Everything looked powerful, almost magical. Yet the air was too quiet, too still. Come, the Spirit King said, his calm voice heavy with authority. Amara followed slowly. The doors opened as they approached, as if expecting them. Inside, the floors shone and pillars stretched to a ceiling she could barely see. Shadows moved quietly. Some figures looked human, but their eyes were empty, their faces emotionless. They bowed as the Spirit King passed, and then to Amara. Welcome, Queen, they whispered. Amara froze, her heart racing, unsure what to say. He gave no explanation and kept walking. They reached a vast room. This is where you will stay, he said. A soft bed, neatly arranged food, and clean clothes filled the space. Relief washed over her, but his voice grew colder. There are rules, he said. Amara asked, rules? You must never enter the West Wing, he said. You must never call your old world. Do not try to return. And you must never remove the ring I give you. He stepped closer, placing a cold ring on her finger. A strange, heavy feeling spread through her. Why? She whispered. It keeps you safe, he said. Then he stepped back. Rest. You belong here now. And he disappeared. Alone, Amara sat on the bed. The food was warm, the bed soft. She ate without fear. But as night deepened, a faint, sorrowful sound reached her ears, someone crying. Her heart raced. The Spirit King's warning echoed. Never enter the West Wing. She looked at the ring. The crying came again, closer. Curiosity stirred within her. Something whispered, "Go and see." Slowly, she rose and walked toward the sound. Amara moved cautiously through the silent palace hallway, each step echoing unnaturally. A soft crying came again, clearer this time, and she realized it was not just one voice, but many. Her heart raced as she followed the sound down a narrow, dimly lit path, colder than the rest of the palace. At the end, a large, dark door loomed. Her chest tightened. This was the West Wing, and the Spirit King's warning not to enter echoed in her mind. Her hand trembled, ready to turn back, until a weak whisper, "Help," broke something inside her and pushed her forward. She reached out and slowly pushed the door open. The creak sounded like thunder in the quiet, and the room was far colder. Shadows shifted, revealing women sitting, lying, some trembling, some still. Fear clenched her chest as she noticed all wore the same ring as hers. One pale woman lifted her head and, seeing Amara, whispered, "You too." Shocked, Amara asked what the place was. The woman gave a weak smile. They had all asked the same. Another added that they had all said yes. Her heart sank. The first woman explained that he came to them, as he had come to her, promising to take away their pain. And they had believed him. Tears pricked Amara's eyes as another voice said he didn't save them, he kept them. She looked at the hollow bodies, empty eyes, and rings. And when she lifted her own hand, the ring no longer felt safe, but like a chain. She whispered that she had to leave, only to hear a deep, calm, terrifying voice behind her telling her she could not. She turned slowly. The Spirit King stood there, more dangerous, eyes glowing brighter, dark presence heavy. He told her softly that she had broken the rules. When she tried to speak, a single word from him silenced her. The women around them were eerily still, as if they knew what would happen. He said he had given her peace and everything she asked for. But as tears fell, she realized this was not peace. He declared she now belonged to him. Amara tried to step back, but felt herself held. Desperate, she reached for her ring and tried to remove it. But sharp pain shot through her. She screamed silently as her skin began to fade, turning pale like the others. She tried to cry out no, but no sound came. The Spirit King warned calmly that removing it would make her like them. Trembling, she let go of the ring and slowly returned to her normal skin tone, collapsing to her knees and breathing heavily. The terrifying truth settled in. There was no escape. The Spirit King turned and ordered her taken back. Shadow-like servants lifted her gently but firmly as she was carried out. The room felt smaller now as Amara sat on the edge of the bed, hands on her lap, eyes fixed on the floor. The food beside her was untouched, the once soft bed no longer comforting. Everything that had seemed beautiful now felt like a lie. Slowly, she lifted her hand and stared at the ring on her finger. The ring, once quiet and harmless, now felt like a chain. The air grew colder, and she froze. She already knew the Spirit King was behind her. His calm, cold voice reminded her that she had gone where she was forbidden. Trembling, she turned to face him, eyes full of fear and understanding. "You lied," she accused, her voice shaking yet clear. "I gave you what you asked for," he replied. "You promised freedom." She insisted. "I gave you freedom from pain," he said. The memory of the weak, broken women filled her mind. "That is not freedom," she said, despair breaking through her fear. He stepped closer. "You speak as though you understand a world you do not," he said. She tried to step back and plead to be let go, saying she no longer wanted this. But he only smiled, a smile devoid of kindness. "No one leaves. You chose this. Your pain called to me, and you accepted." Something invisible tightened around her throat. She gasped, trying to speak, to call for help, but no sound came. Panic rose as she clutched her neck, tears streaming, trembling. He calmly explained that she now understood what would happen if she tried to call her old world. Her voice was gone. She could not cry out. "You belong here now," he said. He turned away and said, "When you learn to accept this, you will suffer less," and then disappeared. Amara did not rush because she knew she could not afford a mistake. Not here. Not with him watching. By morning, everything appeared normal again. The palace was quiet. The shadow-like servants moved as always. and food appeared in her room without a sound. But Amara was no longer the same. She watched everything carefully, every movement, every shadow, every shift in the air. Most of all, she focused on the ring, turning it slowly around her finger again and again. Cautiously, she pushed it slightly, not enough to remove it, just to test it. Sharp pain shot through her finger, making her freeze, but she did not panic. Once the palace was completely still, she stepped out quietly. She did not go to the West Wing immediately, but took a longer path deeper into the palace, wanting to understand more. As she moved, she sensed a part of the palace that felt different, colder, darker, heavier, closer to him. Her heart beat faster as she approached. And there she saw it, a massive door, even bigger than the West Wing's, covered in shifting dark patterns. She instinctively knew it mattered. Slowly, she reached out to touch it. A sharp pain shot through her hand the moment her fingers made contact, forcing her to pull back. She looked at the ring, now faintly glowing, and realized it had stopped her. He was connected to this place just as he was connected to her. Before she could think further, the air shifted, and that heavy presence returned. Recognizing the Spirit King's nearness, she slipped into the shadows, holding her breath as her heart pounded. Amara pressed against the wall, motionless, not daring to blink, as the ring on her finger turned cold again. At last, he turned away, and the door closed. She had learned something vital. The door and whatever lay beyond it were connected to him, just as the ring bound them both. If she wanted to escape, she could not merely remove the ring. She had to break the connection, destroy whatever tied them together. The Spirit King was not the only one with power. Amara did not sleep that night. She sat on her bed, eyes open, mind racing as everything she had learned, the ring, the door, the connection, finally came together. If the ring bound them both, she realized she did not need to run. She needed to end it. By the next night, she waited until the palace was completely still. Rising, she walked straight to the large dark door that had once stopped her. Her heart pounded, but she did not turn back. Placing her hand on the door, pain surged through her, stronger than before, making her body tremble. She gasped silently, but kept going, using her other hand to slowly pull the ring off. The pain intensified, her skin faded, and her body weakened, but she persisted. The palace trembled as the ring shifted. A furious voice commanded her to stop. The Spirit King appeared behind her, glowing eyes and terrifying presence warning her she did not understand. Amara turned to face him, trembling but fearless, showing the ring halfway off. His calm voice faltered for the first time. He warned she would be destroyed. She shook her head silently, revealing it would not be just her. He needed the ring too. Fear flickered in his eyes. With that, she pulled the ring off completely. Chaos erupted. The palace shook, the ground cracked, and lights shattered. Her body began to fade like the others. But the Spirit King staggered back, weakened and whispering, "No." The door burst open. A wild, ancient force surged out, circling her. She felt herself slipping, fading, until it accepted her. The ring glowed. The power rushed into her, restoring her body and her voice. The Spirit King collapsed to his knees, powerless. Amara looked at her glowing hands, then spoke with calm strength. She told him he was wrong. She did not belong to the place, she owned it. Stepping forward, she raised her hand as the dark power moved with her, declaring he was never the master, only holding it. His body broke apart, losing its grip on existence until he disappeared. Silence fell. Amara stood alone, the once wild power now calm and obedient. The ring returned to her finger, no longer a chain but a crown. The West Wing doors opened, and the trapped women lifted their heads. Some cried, some smiled, freed at last. Amara remained at the center of the palace, calm and powerful. She had escaped her suffering but not returned home. She had become something entirely new, the Spirit Queen. Far away, in the quiet village between the forest and the river, a soft voice still calls late at night, not with pain, but with power, waiting for the next girl tired of suffering.